All right. Hello, hello. Okay, turn off the sound on my computer. Hopefully I can see comments that way. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Rosie. Good afternoon, you guys. So, here we are with our... Hey, big sister. Here we are with our image that we started last week from Sweet November stamps. And this was a digi that I downloaded. And I am coloring up this cute little thing, and then we're going to raffle it off to somebody who's here. So, hey, Kat. What's up? What's up? All right. So I have my cute little tumbler from Lena. And here we go. Okay. So, sorry. Answering messages. A whole bunch of people are messaging me. You're live. Where are you live? All that good stuff. So, anyways, I'm going to start pulling out some markers. I have not colored this background before. I have not practiced or anything like that. I'm one of those wing it kind of people. I like to fly by the seat of my pants and just sort of go for it. So we're going to see what works. We're going to see what doesn't work. Okay. So I know that this is going to be water, obviously, because there's mermaid in it. So I'm going to start with some grayish colors. I have BV29, BV25. Then I'm going to go into like some darker blues. Just pulling out some markers I think I'm going to use. Not necessarily 100% sure if I'm going to use this. Right, Deborah? For reals. If I can't craft by the seat of my pants, it's probably not happening. Then I'm going to go into a little bit of like aqua-ish color. I might want to stair step in between those two. So I want something kind of middle ground, a little bit aqua-ish, that and that. Okay. All right. So I pulled out way too many markers because, you know, that's how it is. Oh, fun. Fun, big sister. Okay. So I'm going to start with my lightest marker. Wow. That was some fantastic English here. And so the great thing about coloring backgrounds and such is that you don't have to be an artist. I know a lot of people who are very intimidated by backgrounds. I was one of them. And so I completely understand what it feels like to be going to the whole background scenario. So don't worry. Ooh, look at that. I just made that whole thing pink. Good for me. If I go off the screen, you guys got to let me know. Just start shouting out comments. Cheryl. I was going to say, hey, Taylor. I'm doing great. How are you? So for those of you, oh my gosh, I am all over this pink today. Let me tell you. I'm not too worried about it because it's going to be dark down there, but geez-a-loo. For those of you, yes, this is Sweet November, pal. Good things. For those of you who know me personally and follow me on social medias personally, you know that I adopted a puppy. Well, he's not really a puppy. He's kind of a puppy. This last week. He's a rescue dog, and he is a Doberman. And we have now taken to calling him House Moose because he's pretty much like a bull in a china shop. So he's house horse or house moose. He is such a doll, let me tell you. I have wanted a Doberman for a very long time. Like, we're talking like since I was in high school. Like, I've always wanted a big dog. And I've never had the ability, capability, availability, whatever, or been at a spot where I have the time or finances or yard to devote to a large dog. So this, Lita actually turned me on to this, site on Facebook, just a Facebook page, and it's called Dobies and Little Paws Rescue. And so I've been following them for like a year now, and my husband and I, we send pictures back and forth of, all these dogs and stuff, and he knows I love Dobies. And that's like our love language. If you scroll through our text messages, there's very little like actual conversation between us. It's all like dog memes and animal pictures and raccoons and dobies and, all that stuff, because, that's how we communicate. And so we've been following this page for quite some time. And this Dobie, they had him named Prismo, came up. And I gotta tell you, I am not a fan of this paper that I'm coloring on. This is Bristol paper. I'm not a fan. I keep getting white spots and stuff, and I'm just not happy with it. Anyways, so this picture came up of this Dobie, and his name was Prismo. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the name. And he had been mutilated. Somebody tried to band his ears, and his ears did not stand up. Instead, whoever tried to do this big dumb jerk, actually cut the circulation off of his ears, and they fell off. So Toby is Toby the Earless Wonder. And he basically has no ears. On one side, he has kind of some nubs, and on the other side, it's just pretty much nothing. And so my husband, I had sent the picture of him to my husband. My husband had sent the picture of him to me. And I was like, this poor baby. And I sent pictures of him to Lena, and Lena was like, oh my God, you need to adopt that dog. He just looks so sweet. And so I sent in an application. On the off chance, now mind you, I'm in Idaho, and this rescue is in Southern California, so it is not close to me. I know people are horrible. Hey there, can't stick around, but wanted to say howdy. Hi, Kim. We're talking about Toby. So, anyways, so yeah, people are big dumb jerks, and I sent pictures of him to Lena, and she was like, oh my God, you need this dog. He's so adorable. I agreed wholeheartedly because he is adorable. Right. We think they all need adopted. So we were both of us were like all in. And, so I showed my husband, he was like, no. And my husband sent a picture of him to me, and he was like, oh my God, look at this cute dog, but no. And I, kind of persisted. Like I said, I turned in an application, which I hadn't done before. But I was not expecting anything. I wasn't expecting a reply or anything like that. And I saw a couple days later that he was still up for adoption. And so I, commented on the post and said, I see he's still up for adoption. I sent in an application, but I didn't hear anything back. And then I got a text message and it was like, we replied. And I was like, really? I'm going to be really careful putting some blue over the top of this pink because I do not want this pink to go everywhere, but I do need it to be a little bit blue. So it looks like it's underwater. So anyways, I was like, yep, I submitted. And so they sent me an email back and they were like, oh, we replied to you, but you must not have gotten it. And so I was like, okay, what was your reply? And so she showed me her reply. And so then I asked my husband again. And my husband, of course, was like, yeah, no, we can't. We have Archie and we cannot get a dog, a dog as large as this. This is, he's massive. And I said, no, they said they said he's on the smaller side. And he was like, okay, what's that mean? And so I asked her what the smaller side was. And they said he's 60 pounds. Well, that's great because most male Dobermans are in the ballpark of like 100 pounds. So he definitely is on the smaller side. So fast forward and concentrating while I color. So fast forward and they send me a little bit more information about him. And it says that he's great with other dogs. He's great with people and children. He is, they put him in a pen with a cat, to see how he responded to cats. He was fine with the cats, which we don't have cats because my husband's allergic. So is my son. But, all the things. So they checked out all the things. And he, passed everything with flying colors. So I was like, babe, can we get him? And he's like, no. So we had a couple conversations about him and stuff. Still, it was a no. Then they texted me back and they said, we still don't have a home for him. And he really needs a home. And I'm like, yeah, he does really need a home. And they said, I know that it is a 14-hour drive down here for you. So, come on down. And I'm like, that's a long way. And my husband's like, yeah, no, we're not doing 14 hours. And I was like, but, cause you know how bad I wanted him. If I'm boring you, I'm super sorry, but I'm just so excited. So, this is how I cheat, you guys, to get a circle, because I'm terrible at drawing circles. Notice I'm making this go behind there, so I only have to draw a portion of the circle. Oh, it's a perfect moon, or perfect sun, or whatever you want it to be. So anyways, fast forward, and she calls back, the lady from the rescue, and says, hey, what if we could get him over to Bakersfield? That would save you like 3 hours of driving, because it's an hour and a half further there and an hour and a half back. And I was like, ooh. So I asked my husband, and he's like, man, still no. And he was like, I mean, if you really want him, I guess. But, I mean, you know how husbands are when they say that. Oh, if you really want him, I guess. And I was like, I don't want you to resent me. I don't want you to be mad at me. And he's like, I'm just concerned that the dog's going to, tear up the yard and tear up the house. I don't think you realize how big they are. He was right. I did not realize how big he was, but that's beside the fact. We're not going to talk about that. So here I am wanting this Doberman so bad, but then not wanting to like rock the boat. And I'm asking Lena, and I'm asking my parents, and I'm asking Rachel, and I'm, just trying to figure out what I can do. And then the rescue lady says, my pilot, I have a friend that's a pilot, and he's going to fly a dog to Bakersfield for me that day next week. And make him quiet. And she says, I'm going to start back up here with my BV29. She says, so I have this friend that's a pilot, and he's going to fly a dog from Placerville to Bakersfield. Well, Placerville is another like 2 hours closer to me. So I'm like, yeah. So then I tell my husband, and he is like, all right, obviously you really, really want this dog. And obviously they're trying to make it happen. So go to Placerville, get the dog. Now, Placerville's still like an 8-hour drive. And so, I go to, so she starts a group text between me and the pilot and herself. And this is the lady artist that owns the rescue. There's Archie. And she starts a group text between us. And he says, hey, I can get to Auburn that day instead, which is even closer. And I was like, what? So I asked my husband, and he was like, yeah, just do it. Just get the dog. I mean, obviously they're trying really hard. You're trying really hard. Like, he needs to be adopted. Nobody, will take him because he's been mutilated. So, just go for it. And I'm like, are you sure? And he was like, yep, just take our son, with you. And what you should do is you should drive to Reno. You should stay the night in Reno. And then you should drive to Auburn the next day, pick him up, and drive home. So that you can break it up. So you're not in the truck for like 16 hours. And I was like, perfect. So I email them. I let them know everything. Or I text them. I let them know everything's a go. So we're just waiting on another dog that they're having fixed at a kennel that's in Bakersfield. So finally, we get word. Evan and I take off. We go down there. We meet the plane. We get Toby. And Toby is an absolute angel driving home. He is so great in the car. He jumps in the back seat. He lays down. We had given him a bully stick to entertain him. He loved it. He chewed on it until he fell asleep. I mean, he was just perfect. And so we brought him home and we rescued him. Once we got him home, the next day he went to the groomer. The girls at the groomer adore him. They said he's so good. So he got all cleaned up and spiffed up. And then we took him to the vet, and he got a clean bill of health. And so here he is, being our Mr. Topsters. He wants to play with Archie so bad, but Archie does not want to play. Archie is not a fan at all. And so it's been a little tough trying to get them to interact, but other than that, it's been fantastic. He's housebroken, or at least eager to please because he does not go potty in the house. He goes over to the door and scratches and then sits. He scratches at the door one time and then sits. And he is just so sweet, you guys. I can't even. So, I'm sure you will be hearing lots about Toby. Going all the way down to the horizon line with this. Now I've made this scratchy and I really want to make it not quite so scratchy. I definitely want this one to be a much smoother scene than what I usually make. I usually love making them all textured like this. But I'm not going to do that this time because I generally always make them all textured. So I'm going to tell you that the difference between having texture and not having texture is the amount of ink on the page. So what we're going to do is we're going to start back at the beginning and we're going to go over it a second time. And as I go over this, I'm going to add more ink and kind of elongate everything so that it blends together, because Copics actually don't really blend at all. They layer. So you're seeing the darker color through the lighter color. So I'm gonna layer these up a whole bunch and it'll make it a lot smoother. Everybody still with me? Y'all are being super quiet. I'm gonna make this one reach a little bit further because I realized that I set my sun on this side. So I want these to be a little bit off center as well, which will make her more the center. This makes me think that they're like, this family's out camping and this little girl is at the dock because she was swimming and it's almost time to come inside. But, you know, she's camping, so she doesn't want to come inside. She wants to still play in the water. And her parents are like, nope, you gotta come in. It's time to dry off. We're gonna have a campfire and dinner. And so she's like, okay. And then she hears something in the water. Pencils are totally my jam. I replaced my Copics with Olo markers, so I have a new learning curve. Yes. And so here she is. She hears something splash in the water and she looks down and she sees this adorable little mermaid. And now they're friends. I make up stories for all of my stuff. Did you enjoy the Toby story, Lee? Did you like the Toby story? I'm so happy that we could rescue a dog. I've always wanted a Doberman, but I did not want to go to a breeder for many reasons. And finding Toby available for rescue was just perfect. They found him beside the road in Bakersfield. Apparently he was picked up, I don't know, by animal control or a Good Samaritan or whatever. But he was found beside the road, beside the highway. And Obviously he has no ears, so it wasn't hard to figure out that somebody dumped him. They mutilated his tail as well. So it wasn't very difficult to figure out that somebody had dumped him on the side of the road. He'd been out there for a little while. He was very skinny. He still is very skinny. So yeah, he's quite skinny. He definitely needs some weight put on him. So he's 60 pounds now, which means he's a small Doberman now. Until he gains weight, and then he won't be a small Doberman anymore. But I digress. Anyways, and then so they took him to the shelter, or a shelter in Bakersfield. And that shelter did not have room, so he was going to be euthanized. And there was an employee there at the shelter that knew about this rescue and said, "Hey, we got a Doberman that came in. Would you like to come get him?" And of course the rescue was like, yes. So the shelter had him fixed, had him neutered, and of course the neuter jobs from the shelters are not the best, not gonna lie. So he has a little hematoma as well. But the rescue picked him up. So then the rescue, hey Lakita, the rescue picked him up and took him back to Fillmore. And then of course he went back to Bakersfield. And then he got on the airplane. I guess he was picked up beside the road in May. Then was at the shelter for a little bit. And then June, the Dobie Rescue went and got him. And then we went and got him. So yeah, then he went from Bakersfield to Fillmore, back to Bakersfield, then to Auburn, and now he's an Idaho guy. Just adding a little orange up to the sky to kind of make these blend in a little bit better. Tinting the colors. Oops. Yep, that was right. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to use the chisel nib. This is Y11. This is a really light color. And I'm going to use the chisel nib to kind of make my circle. And I want this to sort of make that orange bleed. So it sort of creates that halo around. The sun. Okay. Then we're going to use this down here so we can kind of bleed these together a little bit so that there's not a perfect line. Okay, I'm going to come in with my lightest blue. Oh, I picked up pink on the side of that. Dang it. 1 second. There we go. Of course, it doesn't really matter because the sky is pink, and I'm going to be putting pink in there anyways, but hey, whatevs. Okay. Then we're going to add the reflection of the moon onto the water. Okay. And then I'm going to come back in with my blue. And try not to do too much fussing about with this because blue and yellow make green. And so you're going to end up with this looking pretty green if you continue on. I did not do a very good job on shaping my moon. Also, this Bristol paper, it like just suddenly decides it wants to stop taking ink. And so it will bead up the ink. I'm not really a fan of that. Okay, so now I have the basis of my scene done. We're going to start adding some like fine detail and stuff, okay? So what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to put a little bit of a shadow under her hair because that would leave the surface of the water a little bit darker. And it's these little details that end up setting your coloring apart. And it really gives things dimension. Okay, so just a little bit of shadow. Well, hi, how are you, Sandy? Okay, now the other thing is there's these ripples in the water. So I'm going to start with my B93 and I'm going to go over that artist drawn line. And I made this no lines because I kind of want to make these ripples go away. I want it to look more artisty, and I'm not so great at that. So we're just going to shade these out a little bit, okay? So the ripple starts, oops, I put that on the wrong end. The ripple starts here. I'm going to add a little bit more shadow underneath it. And don't worry, I'm going to blend this out. Not that Copics blend, but you know what I mean. Okay. So just adding a little bit of extra so it looks, you know, like what I want it to look. I'm going to come in with my BG01, BG01. And again, we're going to work on blending that. Oh, this Bristol paper is making me angry. It's a no on the Bristol, guys. I will still be carrying Sweet Sentiment paper, so don't worry. I just happened to have a piece of this and I wanted to try it out because a lot of people swear by it. I'm not one of those people. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, then on the top part, I'm going to make it light. And I just kind of fuss around with stuff until it's doing what I want it to do. Okay, I think I like that. So I'm I'm going to stop fussing with it because this paper is very saturated. I'm going to clean off my desk some. If I had an alcohol wipe with me, I would use that because it's going to work better. I do have one. Where is it? I literally just had it in my hand not very long ago. But I'm not sure where I put it. So give me just a second. Let me get an alcohol wipe. So I usually have a box of these hanging about, and they work so well to just clean off your desk. And then I usually dry it. I flip this over to the other side. And it's so handy dandy. Then I can toss it and we're good. There we go. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit. Now I am going to take my white gel pen and a glitter pen. So I think that's silver. I don't want silver. Yep, there's glitter. And then I want my white gel pen, which is right here. Okay. And so with my white gel pen, what I want to do is add a little bit of like scratchy definition to where the water would have the lightest part. And that makes it look like it's cresting. So it just kind of adds a little bit more dimension to your things that are touching the surface. Okay, then I'm going to take my silver gel pen. Well, this isn't silver, it's glitter. And I'm going to add some glitter to the Little Mermaid tail. Notice I'm using a polka dot technique, just like I did with creating the tail. And then I'm going to touch it so that it spreads that glitter out. I don't want to do this before I Copic color because this can clog your Copic nibs. And so I definitely don't want to clog my nibs. Perfect. Oh, hi, Melanie. Hi, Katrina. Okay, so there is our cute little scene. So, we are going to make this into a card really fast, and I'm going to show you that with a scene that's like this, I left it a little bit simple on purpose because I want to add a couple of embellishments and stuff to it. But I wanted to show you guys that with a scene like this, the card itself can be very simple. So first things first, I'm going to grab a card base. And I take like a bunch of paper, like I buy a whole pack of cardstock, and I just go ahead and I cut it into several different size card bases. And that makes life just so much easier. So I don't have to mess with it. And then because nobody's perfect, I will start by trimming this so that it is as perfect as possible. 4 1/4. Just like that. Okay. Then what I like to do is find my scraps. And oh, I feel like that really goes, especially if I do it. Yeah, I don't like it. Maybe. You know I'm going to go back to my old faithful, right? You guys know that I always pick black. It's just what I do. I end up picking black or craft. But I kind of like this gray. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my, one of my favorite dyes in the whole world. And I just figured out that I actually had this dye, which cracks me up because I've used it for many, many moons. And then I was shopping on the Cat Scratchiness website, and I was like, oh, she has these Distress Edge dyes. And then I looked and I went, oh my gosh, the dyes that I have are Distress Edge dyes, and they're the Cat Scratchiness dyes. So brilliant me. I've had these dyes all along. And it's a nested, there's several of them. And I've used them on ATCs because the inside one, the smallest one, is a perfect size for ATCs. So, but I found out that she has like ovals and circles and squares and all that. And I only have this one. And I'm like, oh my God, I need the rest of them. I must have them in order to survive. So that's me being extra. I have to have them in order to survive. Okay, then I'm going to take this gray piece and I'm going to trim it down. So yeah, if you're looking for awesome dyes that are that Distressed Edge, I highly suggest Cat Scratchiness, because I have literally had these dyes like forever, and obviously you saw there was no messing with it. It just worked. So very, very pleased. Okay, so now you guys know that I do absolutely nothing without my Distress inks. So I'm going to grab a Distress ink. I'm going to grab Oxide this time. Not really sure why, I just want to. And I have this brand new color that's called Scorched Timber. I mean, it's not that new, but I mean, it's kind of new. And are y'all still here with me? And I have these cool brushes from Brass and Bliss, and they are just the right size. And so they hooked me up with a whole bunch of brushes at one of the last shows I was at the Seattle show. And so here I am with my Brass and Bliss brushes. Now I am using this Scorched Timber. I like this color because it's not gray, but it's not brown. It's kind of one of those in between. And so I really like that aspect of it. Okay. And I do pretty much nothing without distressing it. So just FYI. Now this is going to add a cool, to the darker colors, it's going to add this kind of cool, funky, hazy sort of look to it. And then to the lighter colors, it'll just kind of distress them a little bit, make them look brownish. I want to make it a little bit darker here where this post ends so that it has kind of a little bit of meaning. It doesn't look like that post just goes into nothingness. And I don't know, I just love the way that using these oxides creates like a vignette, whatever, around it. And it mirrors the shape of that sun or moon or whatever you want it to be. So really pleased with that. So before I make too much of a mess, we're gonna spray that again with our water and clean it off. So if you guys don't know, we have a huge sale going on right now on the Sweet Sentiment page. And I would love for you to purchase lots of things so that I can make room for new stuff. I actually really like this sentiment, and I'm thinking that that might be a good one to go with it, but we'll see. Oh, blessed are the curious. Collect beautiful moments. Follow your heart. Dreams of faraway places and daring adventures. Ooh, be curious. I like that. Be curious. Be brave. Lucky is a state of mind. Yep, I think I'm just going to use be curious, because that could be literally anything. Okay, so that was easy. Now I'm going to grab some enamel dots. I'm going to grab these ones. And I'm going to use the leftover ink that's on my brush to brush the edge of this. This is chipboard. All right, then I will use my favorite glue with my cool gummy bear glue topper. Okay, we're going to start assembling this bad boy. So I know that this is only going to poke out ever so slightly, and I am A-okay with that. All right? I just want it to have a base. I get these glue toppers from my pal, Lena, who owns Pine Barn Creations. And she makes the best tumblers. She makes the best 3D critters. She makes the cutest glue pins. So FYI, if you're in the market for any of that cool stuff, just let her know. And she will hook you up with a good price, a great product, and fantastic customer service. Hi, Rhonda. Oops, I just hit the camera. Right? You're not wrong. Just because I pronounced it wrong, I was thinking food too. I'm hungry. It is dinner time. but I know that you guys like this time frame. We just tend to eat dinner really early in my household. And so I'm always like, I want to do what works for you guys. But at the same time, I am so hungry right now because it's almost dinner time. And I'm super duper hungry. Lee, plug your ears. Because we went and bought steaks today and I want steak and potatoes. Where's my stamp? Where did I put my stamp? Am I a big fat dumb? Oh, there it is. I was being a big fat dum-dum head. Okay, so make sure your card opens the right way before you stamp it. There we go. And of course, I must sign in teal because that's how I roll. Okay. I always stamp and sign while the card is still flat because once I put stuff on the card, it's just not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to put Be Curious right here. And I think, honestly, this one's going to be a really simple card. I'm just going to put some dots on it and call it a day. And don't mind me making sure that my sentiment is straight. James actually found some really yummy vegetarian meatball. Ooh, hey, there you go. Okay. So I have these really cool sparkly gems from hi, my name is Jamie and I know how to talk. Gina Marie Designs. Hey. And they are iridescent. I have some in my shop still, if you would like to purchase them. And I like to use groups of 3 on everything. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Are they called meatballs if they're vegetarian? One, 2, 3. Okay, you guys, there it is. There is our adorable little card. Right? It's like sugar-free being called dessert. It just isn't. It's just not right. So here's our cute little card. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to write down all of the names. I'm going to put them in a random generator. I will take a photo of this and I will announce the winner. And when I announce the winner, you're going to need to DM me your address and I will pop it in an envelope and mail it to you. However, there won't be any tracking. It's just going to be in an envelope, okay? So FYI, if you want to enter, basically you just had to be here and your name's entered. So there you go. So I will let you guys know later tonight who wins. Thank you so, so much for being here. Actually, I lied. I'll let you know tomorrow who wins because I want to go hang out with my new puppy. So sorry. I'll let you know tomorrow who wins. And oh, thanks, Cheryl. And thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you back here next Sunday. So have a wonderful evening, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Toodles!